Welcome to Chapter 12, Sustainability. We're looking at ethical and social responsibility dimensions. By the end of this chapter, you should be able to relate sustainability to ethical decision making and social responsibility, examine global environmental issues related to atmosphere, water, and land, review environmental legislation related to sustainability, compare renewable energy sources that provide alternatives for sustainability, evaluate business responses to sustainability related to green marketing and greenwashing, provide strategic directions for implementation of sustainability. So, what is sustainability? It's the assessment and improvement of business strategies, economic sectors, work practices, technologies, and lifestyles while maintaining the natural environment. Development has emerged as a major concern. Sustainable development is where we meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. We're trying to sustain something without putting the future at jeopardy. So what we've done in the past when we were in the industrial age is we sat up here and we built all these plants and all these different things that, and we have all these coal mines and these power plants and factories, not considering the generations that would come in the 70s, the 90s, the 2000s, right? They're only concerned about then. And so what happens is you've compromised the future to then have to find and meet their own needs of survival and making sure that they can thrive and have a prosperous future, not just financially, but just health-wise in general. And so sustainable development is focused on what can we do to make sure that we have what we need, but we don't take so much that the future generations will struggle and possibly perish. So we have to look at a relationship between sustainability, ethical decision making, and CSR. And CSR, as has been mentioned before in previous chapters, is where you have a agenda that is focused on sustainability, and you have a report that creates favorable stakeholder responses. Your corporate culture is focused on it, and how you can do well financially by doing good for society. And it helps to increase your employees' company identification and commitment to the organization. So their role in it and being proud of working for a company that has great CSR favoring, and their commitment then also increases because they want to continue doing a good job and playing a great role within that big family. And organizations use sustainable business practices to demonstrate their social commitment through activities such as recycling and using alternative energy sources. Figure 12.1 shows the ethical decisions and how they affect sustainability as a component of CSR. And you can see some of the examples of some issues. Could be social issues, employee well-being, legal responsibility, sustainability, philanthropy, consumer protection, and corporate governance. And then you can see the stakeholder evaluations of ethical issue awareness and decisions, and how all of it funnels through. And it's a cycle of concerns versus our evaluations of stakeholders. So some environmental issues that we have globally: atmospheric, of course, air pollution, acid rain, global warming, things that you have in the United States that some people believe don't exist, or that they don't think they're making that major, they're not making a major contribution to that pollution. Some don't believe in climate change and global warming. Water, right? Water pollution and water quantity issues. Some of the same people are polluting our water streams with the dumping of the chemicals and the waste product from their products that they're creating. Land pollution, waste management, deforestation, urban sprawl, biodiversity, and genetically modified organisms. There's some of the same people that don't believe in climate change are helping to pollute the land. They're not concerned with making sure their waste management is up to a standard that will have the least impact on society and in the environment, in the planet. The uprooting of trees rapid firely for either processing for different consumer reasons, or just chucking them to the side to build up buildings and residences. But what happens is the more trees that you mow down, the less that we have protection of environmental contaminants. The trees, remember, they play a vital role in this system, this ecosystem that we all live in. And they help with our ability to cleanse out the pollutants and allow us to breathe in fresh air. So all of it is tied in. And so you can read more about all of those land issues in the chapter. So we have EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. Of course, they're under attack by those people who their interests are in continuing their unethical practices. And so the EPA stands in the way of that. So they've been under a major attack, and people are trying to get rid of the agency. But they are created to coordinate environmental agencies involved in conducting environmental research, providing assistance in fighting pollution, and enforcing our environmental laws. And if you have large corporations who have lobbyists who are constantly trying to tell the government that the EPA is, evil and it's a hindrance and it's this, and that. The goal is to remove that oversight so that they can continue polluting and breaking laws, right? And potentially even getting those laws rewritten or just thrown aside. And if people aren't conducting research, then guess what? They won't find out that, oh, by the way, this product or this practice is actually causing cancer and causing this ailment and this disease. So you have a lot of people with a lot of money who don't like the EPA. And interesting enough, you have a lot of people with a lot of money that don't like a lot of the protection agencies that are set up for to protect people and the planet. Interesting. So we have this visual to show you how environmental regulations and that are currently in play. You have CAA, which is Clean Air Act, the Endangered Species Act, Toxic Substances Control Act, Clean Water Act, Pollution Prevention Act, Food Quality Protection Act, Energy Policy Act. I know some people are like, why do we care about the endangered species? It's simple. The more animals that die off, you start messing up the entire food chain. And everything is dependent upon everything else. It's down to our plants. We just don't realize how every animal plays a role into all the things, into what we consume. And you have to, if we're supposed to be stewards of and protectors of and rulers of the animals in the planet, then aren't we supposed to be protecting them? So you have all this poaching because you're trying to get ivory, or you're just doing it for the love of the hunt. And so you're going out there slaughtering, all these wild animals so you can sit by and take a picture and then mount their head on your wall. Something really wrong. Hunting used to be because you wanted to eat the food, right? You needed it to be able to store away for those long winters. Moving right along. So we have alternative energy sources: wind, geothermal, solar, nuclear, ethanol, hydropower. And these are the different ways in which we're trying to come up with some innovative ways that are also least impactful on the planet, on the people that live in the planet. so that we can look forward to a longer life and to make sure that future generations have a place to live. It's easy if you're already in your 70s to 80s to not be concerned about this, because you're not going to be here in 50 years anyway. But for those of us that are still young, we kind of want to be able to reach our 70s and 80s. And the route that we're taking, some of us are dying off like flies. I hate to say it that way, but that's how it feels. The more reports you see of people with all these different types of diseases, and you're wondering, like, was there a light switch? What is happening? And we're realizing, oh, hindsight is 2020. Some of the pollutants and the practices that were done for 50 and 60 years have not caught up to us. And so there are alternative ways for us to use and regenerate energy without using some of the sources that have actually been destroying our ecosystem and atmosphere and causing the climate issues and other issues that we've had. So what's the business response to sustainability issues? You have your triple bottom line, the 3 Ps. And that is looking at your social and your environmental performance along with your economic performance. You're looking at people, the planet, and your profits. All 3, not just your profits. And having this helps to reduce your costs by improving your risk management and stakeholder relationships. You reduce the amount of materials and energy that you use, and you reduce your capital and labor cost. Hello, it makes perfect sense. If you can then reduce your capital and labor costs, then guess what? You get to then use the excess money for something else, to be more innovative somewhere else, to be able to compensate in some other realm of your organization. Figure 12.3, there's a positive link between environmental and economic performance. You can see all of the little bubbles, how they all feed into your innovation strategy, your employees, your regulators, your consumers, purchasers, shareholders, and other external stakeholders like NGOs and communities. But those are all your stakeholders, and how they all feed right into that strategy, which then feeds out into your opportunities for increasing revenues and reducing costs. And you can see those and how they can feed off of each other. Then they funnel into your environmental performance and your economic performance. And so those are all the positive links right there. So what's green marketing and what's greenwashing? I can tell you that you're not washing anything with some green algae, right? And I can tell you it has nothing to do with green billboards. Green marketing is using your assessment from your stakeholders to create a long-term relationship with your customers, while also making sure that you maintain and support and enhance the natural environment that you are supposed to be a steward of. Greenwashing is when you mislead a consumer into thinking that your product or services is actually more environmentally friendly than it is, right? This negatively relates to your financial performance. When you make customers think that your product is organic, or that it's free of GMOs, or that it's environmentally friendly, and they find out it's not, oh, it's like a witch hunt. Because what you've done is you've done a marketing spin and it's deceptive practices. And at that point, we can't trust you. And most times when products are packaged as, or services are packaged as environmentally friendly, usually you're paying a premium on that. You're paying more than the regular product or or service. If I think that my carpets are being cleaned through an environmentally friendly method, and I find out actually you're using harsh chemicals, but I'm paying more for it, because you're never paying less. That is the other twist. That's the other unethical practice, is that for me to eat healthy, or for you not to kill me with chemicals, I need to pay more for you not to kill me with chemicals. Makes no sense. To me, I would think that I'd have to pay more for the chemical base. Make me pay more for the junk food. Make me pay more for this other process. and less for you doing the right thing by not having these chemicals placed into these items. So that's greenwashing. Let's look at figure 12.4, the strategic approaches to environmental issues from low to high commitment. Low commitment, you're only dealing with the existing problems. High commitment, you have strategic programs to address environmental issues. Right there in the middle, your medium commitment. You attempt to comply with your environmental laws. So you're right there in the middle. Low commitment, you make only limited plans for anticipated problems. Right there in the middle, you're dealing with issues that could cause public relations problems. On the high commitment end, you're viewing environment as an opportunity to advance the business strategy. So high commitment means that you're very proactive in this. You're trying to stay ahead. You're being a visionary. You're looking long term. Mid ground means you're just doing the bare. You're right there at the middle, right? You're doing just enough. You're on a fence where, one good, blow of the wind, you may fall one direction or the other. Low commitment, you're really, you're dealing with things as it comes. You're reactionary. It's not a long-term focus. It's right now and, what comes our way we'll deal with. So you're not thinking about the impact later, tomorrow or next week or next year or 20 years or 50 years or 100 years. You're just like, okay, well, we're not dealing with this issue right now. So that's your low commitment. You're just kind of there. So the goal is to be like a mid-high to very high commitment. You really should strive for high commitment. Of course, it takes more investment of time and other resources to get there because it has to be a top priority. So if you can aim for high and you can fall mid to high, preferably more mid-high to high than mid, because if you see the medium commitment, you're viewing the environment as more of a threat than an opportunity. And really, it should be an opportunity. How can we build upon to make the environment, this planet, more enjoyable and possibly renew some of the plants and the trees and the flowers that had died off, and where we can see growth and, oh my goodness, green space that was not once there, like where they see volcanoes that now have actual, that used to have greenage and then they didn't, and then you can see some that are returning where you can see the foliage coming back. It's so amazing and beautiful to see the renewal of life. Like, that should be your focus. And how can we as a company reduce our impact so that we can help facilitate that? So if that means we print less paper and do more things electronically through our computers, that's one great start. It's a focus on that. Things of that nature. That's just a minor example. So we look at our implementation, and we can do it through recycling, through risk analysis, through an assessment from our stakeholders, creating an audit that is focused on strategic sustainability and our environmental impact. These are the four main ways in which you can be more environmentally responsible individually, within an organization, and collectively as the organization as a whole is playing that part. So if you have any questions about Chapter 12, you know how to reach me via email. Thank you.